Yes.
Part 1, Introduction. The Times of the Gentiles. Oh, let me make this a little bit bigger. Perfect. Okay. Just as Daniel predicted in chapter 2 and 7, the Babylonian Empire was ultimately conquered by the Persians. The Persians were in turn conquered by the Greeks, and the Greeks were conquered by the Romans. But who conquered the Romans? No one. The Roman Empire ultimately disintegrated into pieces. The Roman Empire Phase 1. 146 BC, Rome conquers Greece. 103 BC, Lysimachus's kingdom falls. 64 BC, Seleucus's kingdom falls. 44 BC, Julius Caesar assassinated. 31 BC, Battle of Actium, Egypt falls. 64 AD, Nero begins his persecutions. AD 284, Diocletian divides it into two parts, Western and Eastern. AD 312, Constantine moves the capital from Rome to Byzantium, Constantinople. AD 476, Empire will fragment into pieces. Each remaining segment after this had its day in the sun. Wow.
Interesting.
Early Europe, yeah. Europe emerged out of the shadow of the Roman Empire during a period of cultural change in the Mediterranean that lasted from about AD 350 to 600. After the capital of the empire was moved from Rome to Byzantium, Constantinople, the new Rome, in the 4th century, the western part of the empire began to disintegrate as major tribal groups continued to encroach on the remnants of the empire, each bringing their unique background into the mix. The Vikings from the north, the Muslims from the south, and the Magyars from the east each had an impact, and each challenged the cohesiveness of the territory that once was Rome. However, the laws, the cultures, the religions, including Christianity, and the monetary and linguistic infrastructure were the threads and the fabric that will ultimately be regathered into the final tapestry. In each region, unique identities evolved from the local languages and the traditions that have explained their history, values, and claims to the land. At the same time, because these regions had inherited the Roman Christian culture embodied in Latin literacy, they developed a shared identity as members of Western Christendom. This common culture distinguished Europeans from neighboring peoples in the Islamic regimes and the barbarians in the east. As Rome receded, new cultural forces swept across Europe. The migration and settlement of various Germanic peoples, the so-called barbarians, filtered into the Western European territories of the Roman Empire for several centuries. By AD 500, when Rome no longer effectively controlled the West, Europe was divided into different homelands for various ethnic groups. The Ostrogoths settled in Italy. The Visigoths found a home in Iberia, present-day Spain and Portugal. The Franks flourished in Gaul, present-day France. And the Angles and Saxons occupied parts of the British Isles. Destinies called us. This is how the countries were born, really.
Yeah, really. They all just divided up out of Rome.
Out of Rome.
I never
yeah.
really realized that.
By the 9th century, the fragile balance of Roman Christian and Germanic traditions were disrupted by a sometimes violent influx of new peoples. These peoples were integrated into European society through some of the same mechanisms of settlement, conversion, and negotiation that had established the earlier wave of immigrants. These invasions initiated another phase of ethnogenesis. Europe's frontier regions developed new identities, and the central kingdoms redefined themselves. The fact that the older kingdoms in the British Isles, France, and Germany recovered their equilibrium after these assaults underscores the strength of the earliest synthesis of Roman, Christian, and Germanic traditions. The newcomers, the Muslims, the Vikings, and the Magyars, came from three directions and caused panic through Europe. Muslim raiders attacked Europe's coastline from their Mediterranean bases in the south. Their incursions were halted in the west by Charles Martel's forces in the famous battle at Tours in 731. Scandinavian Vikings came from the north. These seafaring groups of landless Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian warriors sought fame and fortune through plundering, trading, or demanding tribute from fearful residents in the British Isles and around the coastal and river regions of the continent. Some of these Viking groups eventually established settlements and integrated with the local populations. For example, they explored Greenland and beyond colonized Iceland, negotiated control of eastern England, built Dublin and Ireland,
Wow.
founded Normandy in northern France, and established the Kievan dynasty in Russia. Here Russia starts to form.
Okay.
Nomadic Magosians, also known as Magyars or Scythians, came from the Asiatic steppes in the east, a region that includes present-day Kazakhstan and western Russia, and eventually settled in Hungary and converted to Christianity. Amazing. Europe became fragmented in response to these waves of attacks. Each region developed new alliances and identities. In 1450, the Muslims overran Byzantium, ending the eastern leg of the original Roman Empire.
That's probably where Iraq and Iran, all of them came into play, huh?
Probably. The Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Empire had its origins in the empire established by the Frankish king Carloman in AD 800. He was crowned by Pope Leo III as Emperor of the Romans. This was the first use of that title since the fall of the Western Roman Empire in AD 476. Although Carloman's kingdom soon disintegrated in 843, the concept of the Holy Roman Empire was to endure for another 1,000 years. Wow. Early in the 13th century, the Holy Roman Empire was engulfed in a civil war between rival German princes vying for the title of emperor. Emperor Frederick II, known as the Wonder of the World, restored power and prestige to the empire, bringing it to one of its highest points since the death of Carloman. However,
Charlemagne?
Charlemagne.
Charlemagne. Yeah.
Okay. However, in order to win the support of the German princes, he greatly increased their independence within their empire. As a result, after Frederick's death in 1250, the title of Holy Roman Emperor was claimed by many different princes and lords, and civil war began again within the empire. Everybody wants to be king. Through advantageous alliances with other kingdoms, Emperor Charles V came to control more territory than any Holy Roman Emperor before him. He was already ruler of extensive areas in Europe, America, and parts of Africa in 1530 when he became Holy Roman Emperor, the last to be crowned by the Pope. 1530, America was already discovered by then.
Oh, that's right, huh?
Yeah. They were claiming America. Oh, okay. Charles struggled to maintain his empire against outside threats, but his possessions gradually dwindled as territories were captured or ceded. After the death of Charles V, the Holy Roman Empire continued to decline in both area and importance until it was finally dissolved by Emperor Francis II in 1806, following the defeats in the Napoleonic Wars. Francis proclaimed himself the Emperor of Austria and allied Austria with Britain and Russia to fight Napoleon. The United Powers defeated Napoleon in 1814, and at the Congress of Vienna in 1815, Francis recovered most of the territory he had lost. The legacy. In truth, the empire had existed more in the realm of ideas than as a political or administrative reality. Voltaire gave his classic summary. It was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. Its legacy, however, endured. The ancient obsession with Italy, the costly conflicts with the papacy, and the continuous resistance of German nobles to any strong central authority had made the empire essentially ungovernable for over 5 centuries. Here we have a map of the different areas.
Okay.
The 30-Year War. The great powers of 16th century Europe were England, France, Spain, Austria, and the Ottoman Empire. The network of relations between powerful states first emerged in Europe during the 16th century and solidified during the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, which resulted in the defeat of the Habsburgs by a coalition of nations, including France, Sweden, and the German principalities. France emerged as the dominant European power. The Habsburg family, also spelled Habsburg, ruled Austria and Spain. World War I. Oh, boy, here we go. National aspirations made the Balkans volatile. Seeing the decline of the Turkish Ottoman Empire as an opportunity to extend their territories, newly independent Serbia, Bulgaria, and Greece attacked the Ottomans in 1912. To manage their rivalries and fearing nationalist unrest, the great powers of Europe formed rival alliances. Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy formed the Triple Alliance, while Russia, the UK, and France formed the Triple Entente. Russia and the UK aligned together with France. That's not hard to believe nowadays as Russia is.
Yeah.
As Russia and Austria-Hungary intervened in the fighting that broke out in the Balkans, the rest of Europe found itself dragged into the Great War. This period also brought other events that were to impact the decades ahead. Revolution and civil war plunged Russia, Germany, and the remains of Austria-Hungary into chaos in the years that followed World War I. The Europe that emerged from this period was radically different. The Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires had disappeared and a host of smaller states had appeared. The Russian Revolution of 1917 led to the creation of the Soviet Union, a self-declared revolutionary socialist state.
Don't say nothing about U.S. in that, huh? And
Not
we did
yet.
fight in it, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, I thought so. I guess it's, according to whatever this is giving you the information on, it had no bearing, I guess.
Right. As an incentive during the war, the Arabs had been promised independent states in the areas formerly controlled by Turkey. A secret agreement between France and Britain, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, included dividing up the Middle East, which laid the foundation of the Caldron that continues to this day. Aha, that's
There you
where
go. There it is.
there it is. It's still one way or another. It's gonna rear its ugly head. The League of Nations gave Britain the mandate to provide a homeland for the Jews, but Britain peeled off 75% of that land to create the state of Jordan for the Palestinians. The British Foreign Office laid the foundations for the current turmoil. Britain's fault now.
Wow.
World War II. Reeling from the excesses of the Treaty of Versailles, Germany rallied behind Adolf Hitler in a quest to reestablish themselves. In 1938, Hitler annexed his native Austria and through deceits and intimidation succeeded in annexing Sudetenland, the strategic part of Czechoslovakia. Britain and France abrogated their commitments to defend it, convinced that the appeasement would bring peace in our time. But the rest of Czechoslovakia was then quickly overrun, and the subsequent invasion of Poland in September 1939 forced Britain and France, who had also promised to protect it, to declare war on Germany. World War II began. Later that month, the Soviet Union invaded Poland from the east, and Poland was then partitioned between Germany and the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union attacked Finland in the winter of 1939 to 1940 and annexed the Baltic states and northern Romania. Germany went on to conquer Yugoslavia and Greece and launched the invasion of the USSR in 1941. Nazi Germany was at the peak of its power, with most of Europe under the control of Germany and its allies. In the USSR, Hitler's troops at first made rapid progress, advancing to the gates of Moscow and Leningrad. But the invasion turned into a war of attrition in which the German army was gradually ground down by the reviving Soviet Union. Hitler learned the same lesson Napoleon had experienced earlier by not recognizing the defense-in-depth heritage of the ancient Scythians, the forebearers of the Russians.
Wow.
The end of World War II saw Germany dramatically reduced in size and divided to east and west. Meanwhile, the USSR gained Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Ukraine. It also occupied northern East Prussia, including Königsberg, Kaliningrad. Much of the Eastern Europe effectively became an extension of the massively expanded Soviet Empire. The Soviet bloc also created a buffer zone between the USSR and the rest of Western Europe. In April 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, was formed by 10 Western European states, the United States and Canada, to provide a military framework for cooperation in the face of what was seen as a common enemy. Relations between the West and the Soviet Union were plunged into the freeze known as the Cold War. World War II had left Europe scarred with deep ruins and despair. Many leaders realized that they could never let that happen again. However, numerous attempts at alliances and treaties were attempted, but doomed to failure. The roots of the tensions ran too deep. Roman Empire, Phase 2. Since World War II, Europe has embarked on a path of unification. That trend has led to the European Union, which was established with the Maastricht Treaty of 1992. This was a slow process as shown below. Okay. 1951, April 18, Treaty of Paris. 1952, European Coal and Steel Company. 1957, March 25th, Treaties of Rome, European Economic Community, France, Germany, Italy, Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, European Atomic Energy Community. 1958, March 19, European Parliament. 1959, Benelux Group formed. Okay. 1967, merger of EEC, ECSC, EAEC, called the European Community. 1973, United Kingdom, Ireland, Denmark joined. Now there are 9. 1981, Greece joins. Now there are 10. 1986, Spain and Portugal joined. Now there are 12. 1986, Single Europe Act. 1990, German unification. 1992, Maastricht Treaty replaces the Treaty of Rome. 1995, Austria, Sweden, and Finland join, which now that makes it 15, huh?
Yeah.
Right. 2002, the euro is established as a common currency. Copenhagen criteria. In June 1993, in Copenhagen, the European Council laid down for the first time the criteria it would apply to decide on the acceptability of candidates for membership. It required that the candidate country has achieved the stability of institutions, guaranteeing democracy, the rule of law, human rights, and respect for and protection of minorities. 2, has a functioning market economy as well as the capacity to cope with the competitive pressure and market forces within the union. 3, has the ability to take on the obligations of membership, including adherence to the aims of political, economic, and monetary union. Since the fall of the Berlin Wall, they have been helping the candidate countries prepare themselves to fulfill these criteria. In the decade of the 90s, they spent more than $85 billion on so-called pre-accession aid to the countries of Central and Eastern Europe, about as much in real terms as the American Marshall Plan in the immediate aftermath of World War II. This was not just to put the economies of these countries back on their feet, it was also to help them build up democratic institutions, to encourage the development of civil society, to train administrations in which the concept of public service is strong enough to overcome the temptation to corruption, and to help build judicial systems that citizens believe are independent and able to ensure that the rule of law holds sway in practice and not just in theory. This is where the United States has gone away from.
Yeah, you're right.
So far to the left from these ideas is unbelievable.
Yep.
Current candidates, 2004. Central Europeans, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Slovenia. Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Mediterranean islands, Cyprus, Malta. Editor's note: all of the candidates were admitted to EU membership in 2004. In 2019 through 2020, the United Kingdom departed the European Union in what has been dubbed Brexit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought they dissolved it.
Yeah, well,
They got out of the
Britain
European.
got out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now there's 14. Europa Rising, Part 2. European Union Today, 2004. An empire being revived. The Maastricht Treaty in 1993 obsoleted the Treaty of Rome. It provides for centralized European superstate, common foreign policy, common military, common currency, the euro, common judicial proposals. Its economic potential is larger than the United States, 446 million population versus 280. But you see, when you have so many distinct nations,
Right.
what the world are you going to try to make? I know that they've done the money, but the military and their judicial systems
Yeah.
being the same in whatever country you go to.
Right.
That's
Those are still separate.
that's a talk to fail.
Yeah.
5 European Union institutions. There are 5 European Union institutions. The Commission is the executive branch and is located in Brussels, as is NATO headquarters. The Parliament was formed in 1958 and is located in Luxembourg. It is interesting that a common emblem for the Parliament and the EU in general is a symbol of a woman, Europa, riding a beast. This is as a bull.
Wow.
The Council of Ministers are in Strasbourg, the Court of Justice located in The Hague, and the Court of Auditors. The European Central Bank was established on June 1st, 1998, and is based in Frankfurt am Main, Germany. It aims to maintain price stability and to conduct a single monetary policy across the euro area. So hard. Enlargement commitments. The European Union is seeking enlargement following the Copenhagen criteria. They are not creating barriers for these countries without helping them. They are actually funding the acquisitions of these member nations. All going to become one nation. 67.5% of 1999 direct investment into candidate countries was of European Union origin. Over 6 years, total trade between Europe and these candidate countries has increased 300% or over 210 billion per year. I think that's the symbol for pounds.
Yeah, I think you're right.
European Union trade surplus is over 25.8 billion per year. Member states run considerable surpluses on their export trade with candidate countries, which results in more jobs, more tax revenue, and more money for social security systems. In contrast, the United States has a record trade deficit of 435 billion this year. Yeah, because we're importing more than we're exporting.
Right.
So it's not equal.
We on the negative.
Yeah. Direct financial assistance to European Union candidate countries is being provided through 3 instruments: FAIR, ISPA, and SAPERD. Direct assistance, 3.2 billion a year. FAIR, 1,620 million. ISPA, 1,080 million. SAPERD, 540 million, for a grand total of 3,240 million per year.
I never heard of those.
Me neither.
Instruments.
These organizations.
It's the first time I've ever heard those whatever they are.
Because we don't live in Europe.
Yeah. Oh, here they're getting ready to tell us.
The fair was organized by a council regulation in 1989. It provides direct financial assistance to provide pre-acquisition support for. I think they're keeping all these agencies quiet. They're doing the work to try to unify all these countries into one.
Yeah,
It could be that. That's why we don't hear about it.
I bet you.
Institution buildings, 30%. This included structures, strategies, human resources, manual skills, all the things needed to strengthen their economic, social, regulatory, and administrative capabilities. ACUS-related investment, 70%. This would include co-financing economic or social institutions, promoting the market economy and capacity to cope with competitive pressure or things of this nature. It also invests in the infrastructure to secure compliance. This would be in such areas as food safety or making the frontier secure. It would also include testing and measuring equipment related to consumer protection. The budget is about 1,620 million pounds per year. IPSA. The IPSA is the Instrument for Structural Policies for Pre-Accession. It provides financial support for investment in environmental and transport needs. Some examples would be drinking water, solid waste management, or air pollution. It also provides for the Trans-European Transport Network. Rail is 50%, roads 40%, others 10%. The budget for IPSA is about £7 billion over a 7-year period, 2000 to 2006. Most of this funding is going to Poland and Romania, among others. You know, it seems like these institutions are what are governing all these countries.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Money is where it's all at. Follow the money.
Yeah. SAPBIRD. The SAPBIRD is the Special Accession Program for Agriculture and Rural Development. The budget is about £540 million per year. It provides for processing and marketing, agricultural holdings, rural infrastructure, diversification, and other areas. Again, Poland and Romania are receiving the largest percentage of others. These countries are receiving this assistance from the European Union so they can qualify for membership. They aren't members yet, they're still getting a whole lot of money.
I mean,
Other candidates. In 2004, the other candidates that hoped to and did join the European Union within 12 months were Central European states: Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Slovenia. Baltic states: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Mediterranean islands: Cyprus, Malta. Current European Union members since 2020. Year of entry countries: January 1st, 1958, Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands. January 1st, 1973, Denmark, United Kingdom, which left on January 31st, 2020. January 1st, 1981, Greece. January 1st, 1986, Portugal, Spain. January 5th, 1995, Austria, Finland, Sweden. January 5th, 2004, Cyprus, Czechia, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta, Poland, Slovakia, Slovenia. January 1st, 2007, Bulgaria, Romania. January 7th, 2013, Croatia. Remaining candidates: Turkey. No status change as of 2020.
that's right. Turkey's been trying to get in that. That's right.
Right, but I think that they're, what is it called? Human rights are bad.
Right. Wow.
really, really bad. We are going to want to watch Turkey closely in the years ahead. Turkey is a member of NATO, but not a member of the European Union. There is great debate on whether they will become a member of the EU. Turkey is also a major player in the prophetic end times. It sure is.
Yep.
Country of Turkey is very strategically placed between Europe and Asia. Remember, it was once the capital of the world when the Roman Empire ruled. The capital was moved from Rome to Constantinople. The Roman Empire ruled there 3 times the amount of time than when it was in Rome. Turkey background. With the decline of the Byzantine Empire, Christian, in the 14th and 15th century, Turkish tribes in Anatolia established the Ottoman Empire, Muslim, which lasted until after World War I, when the modern state of Turkey was formed. Okay.
So Turkey was the Ottoman Empire then.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Turkey, the Ataturk legacy. Ataturk, okay. In the years following World War I, Kemal Ataturk aggressively transformed Turkey from a theocratic autocracy under Islam into a Western-oriented democracy. In 1922, he abolished the Sultanate. In 1928, he abolished the Caliphate and the religious courts. And in 1925, he made it illegal to wear the fez, which he regarded as a symbol of backwardness. Is that what the women wear?
No, because that's a burqa. I think a fez is that funny hat that they would wear, that round looking hat, like a square round, like it's like this. I think that was a fez.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I know it's not the burqa.
Having rid Turkey of the trappings of Islamic background, Ataturk proceeded to adopt Western ways. In 1925, Turkey adopted the Western calendar. In 1926, it adopted the Swiss Civil Code and later the Italian Penal Code. In 1928, the country switched to the Latin alphabet. In 1931, the metric system. In 1934, all Turks were obliged to take a surname. Mustafa Kemal became Kemal Ataturk, and the women were given the vote. Oh, they can vote. That's so good. Okay. Following World War II, Turkey joined all the main Western institutions. The United Nations in 1945, the International Monetary Fund in 1947, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in 1948, the Council of Europe in 1949, North Atlantic Treaty Organization in 1951, and in 1963, after 4 years of application, Turkey received associate membership in the European Community, with the express condition that they would be giving full membership. But apparently that hasn't happened yet because of human rights thing.
Yeah.
Still. The European rejection. The crisis began as Turkey applied for full membership of the European Community on April 14, 1987. Turkey's associate membership agreement of 1963 specifically held out full membership as an eventual goal, and their application in 1987 was ahead of Austria, Finland, Sweden, and Norway, whose applications have been accepted and expedited. Nevertheless, it was clear that they were rejected by the European Union. Editor's Note 2020 update. Turkey has made significant economic and political reform in 2005 that positions it in a more favorable light for EU admission. Constant disputes over Cyprus and President Erdogan's crackdown after a failed coup in 2016 have caused talks to unravel. New attempts to repair problems and allow Turkey's admission to the EU are expected in 2021.
Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah, pressures over Iraq. Turkey declined the United States' use of its bases despite a commitment of $80 billion in aid. Why? Turkey was unhappy to have lost its largest trading partner, Iraq, after the 1991 Gulf War. There was also an anti-United States sentiment in both Europe and France, as well as many other countries in Europe. Yeah. European Union energy reserves. On the whole, the members of the European Union are net energy importers. Import dependency is forecast to grow in the future as the European Commission estimates that the European Union could be forced to import 70% of its total energy and up to 90% of its oil in the next 20 to 30 years. If no new measures are taken, Germany, Italy, and France are the European Union's largest net importers of energy. The United Kingdom is the only significant net exporter. European Union oil is imported primarily from the Persian Gulf region, Norway, Russia, and North Africa. Russia also exports significant amounts of natural gas to the European Union countries. Energy will increasingly be a key aspect on the geopolitical horizon. Yeah, because Putin has got control of all the gas and
Yeah, but the
and
gas
oil.
line got blown up, remember?
Yeah,
That whatever it was that they blew the gas line, so now there's no gas going to European countries from Russia. Because I forgot what they called it, the whatever.
there
The
was
one that
something
they
big,
blew up
yeah.
that pipeline or something.
Yeah, I remember. Strategic changes. Three major factors are bringing about a strategic change in the Middle East with regards to Turkey. One, the deferrals by the European Union of Turkey's application for full membership. Two, the opening up of the Turkic world of Central Asia. And three, the rise of Islamic fundamentalism in Turkey. Muslims as percentage of population. Europe's total of the Muslim population is about 13 million. France, 7.5%, Netherlands, 4.4%, Germany, 3.9%, Britain, 3.3%, Spain, 1.8%, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, 1.4%, Italy, 1.2%. Cross-reference Economist 10/2001, numbers slightly higher in 2010.
I think it's probably even higher now.
Yeah. If Turkey joins the European Union, the Muslim population will be an additional 63 million. Prophetic role. The famed Magog invasion of Ezekiel 38 and 39 emphasizes the participating role of Meshech and Tubal, which were major cities of ancient Anatolia from which the modern state of Turkey was formed. Although Turkey is presently pro-West, one can readily anticipate a refocusing towards the Islamic East. I don't doubt it. Sino-Magog alliance. There is another alliance to be aware of. In 1999, which was the 50th anniversary of NATO, it redefined itself as a world police force. Not good. This chilled both its allies and adversaries. In response, and within 2 years, in 2001, the Shanghai Pact was signed between Russia, China, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan to resist the hegemony of the United States. I guess that's how you say it.
I don't know. Hedge money?
Hegemony.
Who knows? Hedge money? I don't know.
Alright, in other words,
I don't even know what that
these
is.
are lining up to fight the United States. Yeah. Your European Union prospectus, and this is a list of all of the potential political 48 of them. Those are countries. Wow. Okay. This leaves Europe with a language problem as there are 38 active official languages in the above nations. They're going to make it one language. I bet you.
Well,
Bet
probably
you they'll
so.
try to make
You
it
don't have to
one
read
language.
all that. Just go to this leaves.
Yeah. Single foreign policy. There are some challenges and barriers in formulating a unified EU foreign policy. Some issues include several members have historically been neutral, notably Sweden, Finland, and Ireland. To develop a single European Union foreign policy will likely necessitate some reorientation of these countries' foreign policy outlook, a change which their populations may oppose. Yeah, because they're giving up their independence.
Yep.
Many of the European Union members, notably the United Kingdom, France, Portugal, and Spain, had extensive colonial possessions with which they have continued to maintain and foster close links. Logically, for a single European Union foreign policy to develop, these countries will eventually have to submerge their peculiar interests and relationships with third parties to a single European Union position. Ugh. The United Kingdom and France currently hold 2 of the 5 permanent seats on the United Nations Security Council. For a single European Union foreign policy to be developed, a logical requirement is the resignation of those seats in favor of a single European Union seat on the Council. However, there is currently no plan to revise the situation, and neither country appears ready to discuss changing their status at the United Nations. That is true. If it goes into one country, all of these countries
Yeah.
have to give up their seats.
That's right.
With the eastward expansion of the European Union and the approximate doubling of the European Union's membership, the range of foreign policy interests will broaden dramatically. In particular, the relationship between the European Union and Russia will likely become a far more central foreign and security policy concern. Unanimity is required for the European Union to take action. As a consequence, the probability that the European Union will achieve a consensus is likely to decrease with enlargement. At the very least, the time taken to negotiate a common position is likely to increase, thereby restricting the speed and hence effectiveness of a common foreign policy. It's so hard. People of the same nation can't even get their act together. Imagine all these different nations.
Yeah, really.
On the one hand, these are problems, but we can't help but be reminded of Nebuchadnezzar's dream in Daniel 2, where he speaks of the iron mixed with clay. It is brittle and will not adhere. This is the way he describes the Iron Empire. It is possible this is what the illusion refers to.
All these people trying to make something, but they're all not mixed and they ain't gonna hold.
Right. They're together but not holding.
Right.
Positive defense. When it comes to defense, there are 2 potential issues. First, not all EU countries are members of NATO and vice versa. Sweden, Finland, Ireland are not in NATO. Norway is in NATO, but not the EU. Second, only France and the United Kingdom possess nuclear weapons.
Not
They
anymore.
are unlikely to surrender command and control of these arms anytime soon, God forbid. Some perspectives. Some other factors that have happened are the steel tariff wars leading to competitive isolation rather than Atlantic partnership between the United States and Europe. Legal decisions in Britain being appealed to the legal decisions in Britain being appealed to the international courts. European and American media condoning and encouraging the terrorism in Israel. The European Union has granted £6 billion to the Palestinian Authority. This is just the small list, but there are some major tensions occurring. Editor's note: we recognize the United Kingdom's exit Brexit from the European Union, but have not amended the original discussion given here. In some cases, points made in the discussion are resolved by Brexit, while in other cases, the situation has become much more complicated. We thought it best to leave Dr. Missler's comments intact.
Okay, y'all want to stop here because
Stop
it's got.
here. We've got a few more
Let's
pages
see.
left.
Yeah, the rest is just bibliography. Y'all want to finish? I'm okay with finishing.
We're finishing?
Everybody okay with finishing, or y'all?
Yes, okay.
Okay, go ahead. Let's finish. We only got what, 3 more pages?
Okay. History of the common currency. The Romans first used coins around 290 BC. Coins were issued bearing the name of the ruling emperor. These coins were used from Scotland to the Sahara and from Portugal to France. They were an informal way of providing economic fluidity. The centralized authority implied by the coins was a powerful element of cohesion for the empire. In the 3rd century, Emperor Caracalla is said to have ordered the entire population of Thrace into slavery for refusing to use the standard Roman coinage. In the 8th century, Charlemagne established a uniform silver coinage. In the 9th century, the Danegeld, which was a form of a coin, was paid by terrified countries to prevent attacks by marauding Vikings.
Okay.
Napoleon, 1769 to 1821, considered trying to enforce a unified coin currency. The Latin Monetary Union, 1865 to 1926, and the Scandinavian Monetary Union, 1873 to 1924, are both attempts at this, but they were not as successful. The euro is the emerging currency from the European Union. It developed through a series of treaties. 1957, the Treaty of Rome. 1986, the Single European Act. 1992, the Treaty of European Union. 1999, European Monetary Union. Economic summary: the euro. The euro was introduced as legal currency in 2001, and in the beginning of 2002, the largest cash changeover in the world was recorded. There are 12 member states currently participating. Denmark, Sweden, and the United Kingdom are not currently participating. The European Central Bank has been quietly stockpiling gold, pursuing the goal of making the euro an asset-based currency, in contrast to the United States dollar, which is debt-based. Oh, not good, not good. Euro versus dollar. Central bank reserves, US 68%, euros 13%. Global bond market, US 46%, euros 24%. European Union economy. It would be a mistake to underestimate the sophistication of the European industrial establishment. While a substantial part of Europe, especially in the new candidate countries, is agricultural, their potential for growth will become readily apparent as we build a quantitative assessment. European Union and United Nations participation. There are currently 4 European Union nations on the Security Council: France, Germany, Spain, United Kingdom, 2 of which are permanent members. All European Union member and candidate nations are members of the United Nations, and they hold various committee and council positions. This includes 9 spots on the Economic and Social Council, as well as the presidency of the General Assembly. After the enlargement, the European Union will make up 25 of the 191 members, 13%. United Nations Security Council reform. The United Nations Security Council contains 15 members, 5 permanent members, and 10 elected by the General Assembly for 2-year terms. Decisions require an affirmative vote by at least 9 members, including all 5 permanent members. The UNSC is the only entity that has the power to impose obligatory policies. The Russian Foreign Minister Igor Ivanov presented Russia's proposals for overhauling the United Nations. Among other things, Moscow suggested that the United Nations Security Council include 5 other permanent members, such as Germany, Japan, as well as 1 Asian country, 1 African country, and 1 American country. Russia suggested that India become a permanent UNSC member. According to Ivanov, Europe is divided on this proposal because Italy and Spain both claimed the right to be represented in the UNSC. Ecumenical religion. Biblical Christianity is becoming increasingly politically incorrect. Ain't that true?
Yep.
The Vatican is positioning for global ecumenical leadership. The Vatican has endorsed the Quran and it is disturbing to look at the long-term implications. God in the European Constitution. A draft copy of the European Union Constitution prepared for submission to the member states contain no specific reference to God, despite strong pressure from conservatives and from the Vatican. The question whether the text should mention God or Christianity caused one of the most heated debates in the preparatory body. The Convention for the Future of Europe, consisting of representatives of all the European Union member states and soon-to-be states, and chaired by former French President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. All 15 European Union members and 10 countries due to join next year are formally Christian states, although most, including Italy, France, and Spain, make no reference to their Christian roots in their respective constitutions. Secularists at the convention contended that a clearly pluralist modern Europe has moved beyond a need to include a reference to a particular religion or any religion at all. When former Irish Prime Minister John Bruton, the representative of Ireland, whose constitution opens with a solemn invocation to the Holy Ghost, formally proposed including a mention of Christianity, the proposal failed to muster enough support. The document now goes to the 25 member countries for parliamentary approval. Sources said several European countries are nervous about creating resentment among their large Islamic immigrant populations.
Wow.
What's next? Will an Eastern leg also emerge? When and where will a super leader emerge? The Assyrian, Micah 5, Isaiah 10. What will the role of Babylon be? Is it literal or coded symbol or both? A challenge. We are being plunged into a period of time about which the Bible says more than it does about any other period of time in history. This includes the time that Jesus walked the shores of Galilee or climbed the mountains of Judea. We encourage you to monitor strategic trends such as rise of the European superstate, ecumenical religion, global government, weapons of mass destruction, rise of Islam, struggle for Jerusalem, Magog and Magog, rise of China, biotech and global pestilence, American challenge. Hey, American challenge. Okay, sources. National Security Forum Air War College, European Union website, Encyclopedia Britannica and Carta Reference Library, BBC and other news sources, Corsi Intelligence Service and others, William I. Hitchcock, The Struggle for Europe, Double Deck. Private correspondence and interviews. So it's leaving it up to us and the bibliography.
Okay. Wow. We finished. That's a lot of history and stuff. And then we're living and looking at everything happen right now. All this craziness going on. Jeez.
Truly believe we are in the end times. I've been saying that for over 10 years now.
Yes, indeed.
It's just getting worse and worse.
Just kind of watching things happen and before our eyes. They got a lot more that's got to happen, but still, we're seeing it. It's like crazy.
Things that are happening, but we rest the Lord. We rest on the Lord.
Amen,
He
amen.
does, so
Yep.
why worry about tomorrow? It's not coming, right?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Well, all right, y'all.
Today was best for today.
Amen and
All
amen.
right, people.
Thank you for taking a few little extra minutes so we can finish and start Romans next week.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Love you, love you. Good night. Thank you. Thanks, Yolanda, for reading. Good night. Night, night.
Okay. Night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you for coming on, everybody.
Love you.
Good night. Love you too.